Hey, how's everybody doing? Hope you're having a fantastic day. It is Friday, November 15th, and I'm coming at you with a nice, chill, calm Friday night stream. On Friday nights, I kind of like to sit back, relax. We're going to be reviewing a fun little video. You guys have been, this is a topic. So this is on Sedevacantism. It's a topic that, in particular, it's not, like the filioque or like the Trinity for me, or like fundamental theology. It's not something that, I'm very, very deep into like that, but obviously it's something that I've touched on before. It's something that I've read and thought about a little bit. So I'm going to be watching the debate between Bishop Sanborn and Dr. Fastigi. You guys have been begging me for that, so I'm going to be reviewing it. I don't know how much I'm going to have to add to it. I don't know. I guess I will be a impartial witness to this because, as we know, our faith does not rely on who wins an internet debate. So if Bishop Sanborn wins or makes a fair point, I will be honest with that. If Dr. Fastigi makes a bad point, I'll be honest about that. And I like to be perfectly fair when it comes to all of these internet debates. So what I actually first wanted to do is I wanted to look at the trailer for this. This trailer is an absolute classic. Let me see. Dr. Fastigi Sanborn trailer. Oh crap! Am I not going to be able to find the trailer? Fastigi Sanborn debate trailer. I need to find the trailer. If I don't find the trailer, it's over. Yes, here's no. It's from Novus Ordo Watch, I think, but am I not going to be able to find the trailer? It's going to be so over if I can't find the trailer. The trailer is so epic. We love the trailer. If anybody actually finds the trailer, I would be happy about that. Oh, here it is. Okay, I found the trailer. So we're going to watch the trailer just so you guys get a taste of how epic this is. Okay. Coming soon to a computer near you. Yeah, that was epic. That was actually epic. So this is the debate we're going to be watching. So you guys need to buckle in. You guys need to buckle in This is going to be exciting. No, yeah. As a clarification, Bishop Sanborn, he's not a Sedevacantist. He's a Sedeplenist. Okay, thank you for the clarification. What am I even watching? Hassan, are you gonna join us, Hassan? 2013 with the quality, dude. It's let's be perfectly honest here, boys. That was excellent. That was beautiful. Yo, Trendy, are you gonna join? Oh, okay. So a set of privationist, they hold to a certain thesis that basically the Pope is not formally the Pope, but only materially the Pope. Yeah, that's what I guess. Okay. So if anybody wants to join me for this epic review. You're more than welcome to join me. Actually, only if I know who you are. If I know who you are and I feel like having you on, I will. If I do not know who you are and I do not feel like adding you on, then I won't. I mean, that's kind of the standard here. And I probably won't be checking my DMs at all, so cry about that. I'm ratting the popes right now. Okay. Whatever you say. Yeah, we all know we love it. We love it. Okay, well, let's actually get into it. Thank you, Cat Cans, for becoming a member. YouTube members are epic and we love them. Okay, how's it going, Hassan? I'm gonna put you in the background actually. But how's it going? I can up he muted himself. It's so over. But Hassan is going to tell us everything that's wrong with this debate. What do you think about Dr. Fastigi, by the way, Hassan? Bro silent. Oh, is your mic just not working? Let me look at your mic settings. Your mic settings are fine. Is this just like muted for me? Nope. Nope. I just can't hear you. So yeah, you can figure that out. You figure that out. But anyways, let's actually get into the debate. Whoa, save the children.
It's fixed, is it?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I know of Fastigi. I haven't read a bunch of his stuff.
From what I've heard, he's epic. Oh, do we have the Fastigi? Oh, did you see the clip from yesterday, Hassan, or have you been busy?
Which clip?
The Fastigi clip where he absolutely obliterates Pope
No.
Bashers. Oh, when was that? What video was that? Invite Astro. I'm pretty sure Astro's probably sleeping. I still remember it's at 30:55. Hey, bro, I thought you were at Notre Dame. I was at Notre Dame on. I left at like 5 o'clock in the morning, drove all the way to Indiana, which was almost 12 hours. And then I hung out with our friend Matthew. I think you know Matthew. And then I spoke, and then we went to a bar afterwards and we all hung out. And then I finally got back to my hotel room at like 3 a.m. Then I slept for a few hours, and then I woke up, and then I had breakfast with EMJ and a few Notre Dame students, and then I drove all the way back home and didn't get home until almost 10 o'clock at night. So I was absolutely destroyed after that. Um, is it accurate to say that a heretic is deposed of his office with respect to God, but not with respect to the laity? If so, why did the Pope praise the laity for resisting Nestorius? Do you remember? Do you remember the state of the question with the Nestorius situation, Hassan? I can't remember off the top of my head.
What about it specifically with resisting the resistance
You
of the
know,
laity?
like the classic Sedevacantism argument about Nestorius. Do you remember anything about that?
No.
No. Okay. Sorry, Mr. French Thomist. I remember that there's extensive like work on this, and I probably remember where it's written about. If you DM me or something, I can send you those resources later. I don't remember off of the top of my head. I think I read about this like 2 years ago. Okay, defending Pope Francis with Dr. Robert Fastigi. Okay, so 30:55. Okay, let me pop this up. You're gonna love this so much, Hassan. Okay. Okay, let me pop this up. He utterly obliterates. Okay. Are you watching this, Hassan?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
There's a living magisterium, as St. Paul VI reminded Archbishop Lefebvre. There's a living magisterium, and when new questions come up, some matters could be revised, qualified, explained differently, and there's many examples I could give of this. But I'm sorry to get emotional, but you were right to bring up scandal. I tell you what I'm scandalized by are people who make a false accusation of idolatry against the Supreme Roman Pontiff. Shame on them! I'm finished.
Tim, if
Epic. We love Dr. Fastigi.
that's kind of that. I'm not sure. That's like on the verge between. That's a little crazy, and wow, that goes hard. It's hard to distinguish. He's like right on the edge between the two. I don't know. That was kind of weird. What do you think?
Okay, Unius Initiative remembers about the Nestorius situation. No, I think it's epic. I don't think it's cringe at all. I'm new here. This channel is Sedevacantist. No, I'm not Sedevacantist. Neither is Hassan. If you want to know what happens to Sedevacantists, see what Pope Francis did to what was that priest's name? Did you see about this, Hassan? Pope Francis excommunicated that priest recently who wrote a book that was flirting with Sedevacantism.
No,
you didn't. Okay, well, he did that recently. Since you've been apparently AWOL the last 2 days,
basically.
Okay, well, let's get into
Meeting
this.
a criminal who tries to attack you is surprisingly simple.
Okay.
You just need to follow the Romanian Rambo's two golden rules of self-defense. If you're not familiar with Matei, known in combative circles as the Romanian Rambo, he's one of the most respected security experts in the world. He's best known for his work hunting down some of the most brutal criminals in the world and also hunting Somali pirates.
That's big.
Matei recently released a new book where he reveals his entire self-defense system for the first time. I paid a small fortune for it, but as a gift to my YouTube community, I'm going to give you the book for free.
Yo, that's so based. As a gift to my YouTube community, I'm giving the free book I'm giving you the book for free that this other guy wrote. That's so epic. As a gift to my YouTube community, I'm going to pirate some books from if you guys become members, as a gift to my YouTube community, I'm going to pirate all of the books I can find to give it to you guys.
Well.
Okay? How does that sound? I'm giving you Hassan's secret piracy chest that will be released to every single YouTube member in my YouTube community. Okay, does that sound good, guys? Okay, why are we watching Old White Men? Okay, we're about to watch some more Old White Men once I skip this ad. Okay, what's going on here? Novus Ordo Watch presents. Are they going to have music? The ecclesiology debate. Resolved. The teaching of the Second Vatican Council and the post-conciliar church about the nature of the Catholic Church is heretical. Okay, you ready for this, Hassan?
Sure,
he's surely ready for this. Oh, the Diamond Brothers books, those are so epic. They have little pictures in them. It's really cool. Should I put this on 1.25? I think I should. Oh man, this is lasting and uncomfortably. Affirmative. Bishop Donald Sanborn. Dr. Robert Fastigi is the negative. Wow, this is... who's that? Who's this? Who's this? He's like a random seminarian?
What happened to Fastigi?
They're laughing at him. That's crazy. This camera work is so epic.
Okay, my apologies for that. I'm Courtney Robinson. I'm a seminarian with the Fraternity of St. Peter.
He's FSSP. Why do they have an FSSP seminarian hosting a debate between Robert Fastigi and Bishop Sanborn? This doesn't. Oh wait, so this is brother. Okay, let's. Watch at 1.5. It's very slow. Okay, good. Wait, so you guys know who this person is? Okay. Apparently, you guys know this person.
Moderating a debate between His Excellency Bishop Donald Sanborn, who is the rector of Most Holy Sacred Heart Major.
This camera work is insane.
You're going to have opening arguments where each of the debaters will be 20 minutes. So, if you have a question, you could please stand once you're acknowledged by them so that questions about
The last time that we met, we talked about ecumenism and the ecumenical or Vatican II ecclesiology. And I would just like to summarize what our perception of that is, and I have tried, after reading a lot of it the past few weeks, summarize as best I can what I think it is. Ecumenism seems to me to be the seeing of value in other religions as they are religions. The ecumenical ecclesiology is a direct flow, the Vatican II ecclesiology is a direct flow from ecumenism, which was the basis of the whole council. And in it, there is conceived a general Church of Christ in which, if you picture a target with concentric spheres, there is the bullseye, which is the Catholic Church, and in it subsists the Church of Christ because it has the fullness and totality of all of the elements of the Church of Christ. Then as you move out in these concentric spheres, you get less and less of participation in the Church of Christ as the elements of the Church of Christ get lesser and lesser. Therefore, you have in the Vatican II ecclesiology something called partial and full communion. This is something that was never used in the history of the Catholic Church. Those terms to be in partial communion with non-Catholic sects. But in Vatican II, we see this repeated over and over again, that if you are in full communion, it means that you are completely reconciled to the Roman Catholic Church. But at the same time, if you are in partial communion, it means that you have some things in common, some things not in common. And so the Vatican II hierarchy sees itself in partial communion with what it calls particular churches, even though these particular churches, as they call them, are not subject to the Roman Pontiff and are heretically and schismatically hold to both heresy and schism. So what I do want to eliminate as part of these status questionis is the following. We are not discussing whether those who labor under invincible ignorance are culpable of their schism or heresy. The Church teaches that if you are in invincible ignorance about really any sin you're committing, but particularly in this case about your heresy or schism, God does not hold that against you. So we're eliminating that, or at least I am, as part of the question.
Based Bishop Sanborn.
We are not discussing whether these religions have the practice of dispensing valid sacraments. Many of them do. Valid baptisms, valid masses, valid orders in many cases. We're not disputing the fact that they preach certain supernatural truths, like the divinity of Christ, or even in the case of the Greek Orthodox, the real presence of Christ in the Holy Eucharist. We are not discussing whether people in these religions are moved.
Yeah, I think so. I think thus far, what Bishop Sanborn is going to have to do is to, because at least from my understanding of, quote, Vatican II ecclesiology, really when we're talking about anything like partial communion, or the fact that the church subsists in the Catholic Church, that this has to do with the fact that there are ecclesial elements like valid sacraments or like the preaching of supernatural truths, which are present in schismatic in heretical groups. So he's gonna have to prove that this is something beyond merely a sort of linguistic difference. So what do you think about that, Hassan, so far? This guy's he just died. He died. Hassan died. Okay, I'm putting it at 1.5.
By actual graces to seek the truth of the gospel. We can see that actual grace moves people in non-Catholic religions, even non-Christian religions. Of course, that's true. It was the Jansenists that denied that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm listening.
The question, as I said.
Oh no, I was asking you what you thought about what he said so far.
Well, what he said so far is just a statement of what he considers unproblematic, right?
No, he gave a representation of what he called Vatican II ecclesiology with his little bullseye stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is that he would have to basically make an argument that us designating those particular elements as relegating those individuals as having partial communion with the church is somehow problematic rather than simply like a linguistic difference.
Yeah, because so far all he said is that it's linguistically novel.
Yeah, basically. Oh yeah, what do you think about this? What is the relation of the prohibition by divine law against communicatio in Sacris and the doctrine promulgated by UR8 that communal public prayers with heretics and schismatics is useful?
You remember Timothy Wilson? He's on his
Benedict
Lumen
14.
Scholasticum blog. He's
Mhm.
translated a section from Pope Benedict XIV from De Synodis where he talks about this. And a lot of problems can be shown to be present in UR. I don't think doctrinally. Well, I don't want to get into some of that stuff in public, but basically the issues that are in UR are mostly going to be questions of wrongly identifying the fulfillment of the conditions given by Benedict XIV for legitimate communicatio in divinis with heretics and schismatics, because he does say that there is such a thing. He just says that the conditions are extremely narrow, right? So UR is Unitatis Redintegratio. It's a text of the Second Vatican Council dealing with ecumenism. You should probably read those texts before watching a debate like this, bro.
I'm pretty sure he has read the texts.
No, the Mr. Felix asked, "What's UR?"
Okay. I see that now. But yeah, I linked to you that article. He gives Benedict XIV gives the conditions, and he proves it from traditional sources.
Yeah, there are other books that go into this as well, but it's all like untranslated stuff that
Joe, I literally linked
somebody
it
like
above.
Timothy. Yeah, it's been posted, Joe. It's Timothy Wilson posted on Lumen Scholasticum.
Yeah, that guy's epic. Okay, let's continue.
See, it is fourfold, and if you picked up what I placed
fourfold, it's fourfold.
At the front, you will see the reason why I did this was because in my research for this debate, the evidence was so vast that I could not say it all in 20 minutes. And therefore, I can only mention a few things that I found that what I have just described as the Vatican II ecclesiology. The question is fourfold: whether schismatic or heretical churches are part of the Church of Christ. Number two, whether it is possible to be part of the Church of Christ without being submitted to the Roman pontiff. Number three, whether it is true that in every valid celebration of the Eucharist, the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church becomes present, which is a direct quote from Ratzinger, who says that in schismatic churches, because they have the valid Eucharist, the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church becomes present at that time. And fourth, whether the Spirit of God uses schismatic and or heretical sects as means of salvation, which is something which Vatican II asserts. Now, secondly, I want to give you a summary of the Catholic attitude toward ecumenism and toward the new ecclesiology. The Catholic Church has always been opposed to the ecumenical movement, which dates back, by the way, to about the year 1600. It grew out of the innumerable disputes of Protestants. And
wait, 1600? What did you say about the ecumenical movement dates all the way back to 1600?
They wanted to find a common denominator, a generic Christianity, and they have been always pursuing ecumenism amongst themselves. But there was a movement which began in the 19th century and then grew and came into the 20th century, which the Catholic Church always resisted. And you can see from the texts which I have given you, which date from the 19th and the 20th centuries in most cases. This new ecclesiology is alien to the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church has never spoken in this manner. It has always considered itself to be the one true church, outside of which there is no salvation. And the popes, which you see on this paper, say it over and over and over again. And they are very clear. They make no distinctions. They say it over and over and over again.
Okay, so the documentation Bishop Sanborn mentions can be downloaded at www.novusorowatch.org/v2debate.htm.
And that the Roman Catholic Church is the one true Church of Christ. It is the mystical body. That those three things are exactly the same. That you do not have concentric circles. You do not have spheres, as John Paul II says. That those three things are exactly one and the same. Therefore, if you are not a part of the Roman Catholic Church, you are not a part of the Church of Christ. You are cut off from Christ. And here I speak objectively, because again, I say I'm not talking about people who are in good conscience. That's a whole other thing. It's possible that they may adhere to the church by desire, the true church by desire.
Yeah, I think this is now that I think about this a little bit more, This is actually extremely problematic for him to concede that there are supernatural truths which are preached, invalid sacraments which are celebrated, in grace which is present, that is mediated by Christ. I'm assuming he thinks they're mediated by Christ, yet are not in any sense ecclesial. This would completely sever head and body in a very grotesque way. You know what I'm saying, Hassan? You agree?
Yeah, I thought that at the beginning. I was a bit weirded out by he's like, okay, so the new ecclesiology is these concentric circles, and he's like, however, I don't deny that all of these real means of salvation are present. Or he doesn't call them means of salvation, but that's what they objectively are. So what are you going to do?
How could he be like, I don't think these things are means of salvation, yet I think these are actual graces, and these are supernatural truths, and these are sacraments, but they're not means of salvation, and they're not ecclesial. Yeah. Like this just sounds like on the prima facie, this just sounds absurd.
I mean, let's go to the Eucharistic point that he made. Like Ratzinger says that whenever the Mass is said, the Church is present. That's because of the mutual constitution between the Eucharist and the Church, because they're both the mystical body of Christ. That's not supposed to be the idea that like the fullness of the Church is present in every dimension. He actually explicitly says that it means that it objectively calls out for union if union isn't present. And if it is present, then it manifests what is present. So that I think that's a bit of a confusion there about Eucharistic ecclesiology of Ratzinger and Rana.
Yeah. Also, somebody said, John Coloraffi, an attempt to style ourselves the Roman Catholic Church failed at Vatican I. No, the mark of Romanness has always been taught by the popes and the theologians. I don't know why this meme is out there that we consciously don't call ourselves the Roman Catholic Church because of the Eastern Catholics or something like that.
What about Mystici Corporis Christi, which does it, or Testem Benevolentia Nostrae? Various other important texts.
Yeah, I sent the link to the book if anybody's interested in this. Yeah, I don't know why this is a thing. Is there? I don't even know if there's any precedent for this, or this is just an internet thing. But yeah, okay. Anyways, basically the TLDR. Strange how Sedes can say all this, but still argue that Vatican II is wrong for saying it in different words. Yeah, that's basically the TLDR. And also the very clear oddity of having all of these things coming from Christ the head, yet completely severing these from having any sort of way in which we talk about these as ecclesial elements. It's just cringed hearing prots say the Roman Catholic Church. Well, that's what the popes say. I mean, why is that cringe? Do you realize that a like 15th century Byzantine Catholic would be very offended if they weren't referred to as Roman Catholics and they were called Greeks, right? Like that Roman Cat, they would identify themselves very much as Roman Catholics. Yeah. Anyways, let's continue.
And now I would like to show you the details of this opposition. If you look at question 1 on page 2, Pope Pius IX, 1868, he says, now anyone who wishes to examine with care and to meditate on the condition of the different religious societies divided among themselves and separated from the Catholic Church will easily be convinced that no one of these societies, nor all of them together, in any way constitute or are that one Catholic Church which our Lord founded and established, and which he willed to create. Nor is it possible either to say that these societies are either a member or part of this same church, since they are visibly separated from Catholic unity. And don't forget, for him, Catholic Church and Church of Christ are one and the same thing. He does not make any distinction of the spheres of belonging or partial communion. But Ratzinger, if you see, and John Paul II, if you see in the other column, talks about the particular churches, that the Eastern Orthodox churches are particular churches, that the Church of Christ is present and operative also in these churches, even though they lack full communion with the Catholic Church. And he says the universal church is therefore the body of the churches, which means that the universal church has as parts non-Catholic sects. Eastern Orthodox, those are parts of the Catholic, of the Church of Christ, for Cardinal Ratzinger and John Paul II, and that is a heresy. And then you see the quote of John Paul II concerning the spheres of belonging to.
How does that follow?
I don't know how that follows at all.
What?
Would you like to elaborate, Hassan?
I'm eating something.
You're eating something?
Yeah, maybe you can rewind it like 10 seconds and lay out how that doesn't work as a syllogism.
Of the Catholic, of the Church of Christ for Cardinal Ratzinger and John Paul II, and that is a heresy. And then you see the quote of John Paul II concerning the spheres of belonging to the church.
Oh, I need to go back further than that.
Church is therefore the body of the churches, which means that the universal church has as parts non-Catholic sects, Eastern Orthodox. Those are parts of the Catholic, of the Church of Christ for Cardinal Ratzinger and John Paul II, and that is a heresy. And then you see the quote of John Paul II.
Yeah, I mean, the reason this doesn't follow is just because there's ecclesial elements in these churches does not mean that somehow they are parts of the Catholic Church. Because that's the whole reason behind the statement of subsists in. Like the whole reason for saying subsists in is that this is the only way in which the ecclesial elements come together to form a singular subject, rather than just some sort of like vague participation with mixed elements of error. Doesn't mean that they're like integral parts or something like that.
Yeah, because you would have to distinguish between a member and someone that has partial communion. Someone who has partial communion is not a member.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, is that all you wanted to say?
More or less.
Yeah, have you looked into Mystici Corporis, the ghostwriter, and his influence on Vatican II's ecclesiology?
No.
Yeah, it's an interesting. That's like an interesting rabbit hole that I went and. Let me see. I'll keep playing this, and I'll see if I can find a little bit about that rabbit hole. I went down that rabbit hole a while ago, and it was really interesting to see that, like the very authors consulting with Pius XII on ecclesiology were the ones at Vatican II contributing to documents on ecclesiology.
Concerning the spheres of belonging to the church as people of God, which is from the second chapter of Lumen Gentium, which is Vatican II. If you go to the next page, but when we consider Leo XIII, 1896, but when we consider what was actually done, we find that Jesus Christ did not, in point of fact, institute a church to embrace several communities similar in nature, but in themselves distinct and lacking those bonds which render the church unique and indivisible, after that manner in which the symbol of our faith we profess, I believe, in the church. If you go to page 5, Pius XI, they add that the church in herself, he's referring to ecumenists, they add that the church in herself and by her nature is divided into parts, that is to say, made up of many churches or individual communities, which, although separate, hold some points of doctrine in common, although they differ on the rest. Each church, according to them, has the same rights. And there are many, many other quotes which I will have to leave you to read for yourself, but they all say essentially the same thing. The second question, whether it is possible to be part of the Church of Christ without being submitted to the Roman Pontiff. All right, page 10.
Okay, yeah, we understand, Alexander. We're just saying that it's completely absurd to concede on the one hand, like he said, that there are these elements of grace and supernatural teachings, and then not also designate these as either ecclesial or salvific. Like, it doesn't make any sense to make both of those affirmations. You could either take like a sort of weird diamondite, or I don't know if the diamonds hold this actually, but I don't want to misrepresent, but a weird, normie online Sedevacantism route and say like, oh, there's no elements of grace or of supernatural teachings in these societies, which is fair enough, ridiculous, but fair enough. Or you could take the opposite route and say, oh, there are these elements, and these elements, because no grace, God has willed that all grace come from Christ the head, be ordered towards salvation, and be united to and come through his mystical body. So it's that's our whole point. Is it's absurd to speak of like non-salvific supernatural teachings or non-salvific graces or non-salvific sacraments or graces, supernatural teachings and sacraments that aren't in some way ecclesial, because the mystical body is always united to the head. The soul of the church always has some relation to the body of the church, and the uncreated soul of the church is the Holy Spirit, who's the fount of all of these graces. Like it's completely it's completely nonsensical. That's our whole point. Yeah. So it was Sebastian Trump that I'm thinking of. Yeah, that's who I actually just had open. I'm doing the real research here, but I just had open his Wikipedia page, of Sebastian Trump. Yeah. He helped with Pius XII and with Vatican II, and he was a contributor with the ecclesiology of both. So, yeah.
One sec. Hey, dude. Only a fool for God. Vatican II doesn't call the sects means of salvation, but says that they are in possession of certain means of salvation that belong to the church, like baptism, for example. That's just obvious.
Yeah, exactly. I really don't get why this is the thing. There's so many other things in Vatican II that, like, prima facie seem contrary to evident reason or to the tradition of the church, but this just seems kind of like a non-controversial issue. I don't know why people get so up in arms about it.
Leo XII, 1826. He says, remember and understand well that where Peter is, there is the church. Quoting St. Ambrose, that they who have not in their midst the see of Peter, who rend it by impious schism, have no part with Peter's inheritance. Again, St. Jerome, quoting...
but this is the whole point of us talking about it subsisting in, because the others, they merely have a sort of share of ecclesial elements, but they're not the church. I don't get why he's not. All of those quotes are very easily interpreted in that light. Okay, I really don't know what he's getting.
St. Jerome, that those who refuse to associate themselves with the communion of the chair of Peter belong to the Antichrist, not to Christ. Would this be asserted by John Paul II? Would those words come out of his mouth?
Yeah.
Or by Cardinal Ratzinger? This is the teaching of the church. This is the Holy Father, Leo XII. If you look at Pope St. Leo the Great at the bottom of page 11, wherefore, since outside the Catholic Church there is nothing undefiled, the apostle declaring that all that is not of faith is sin, we are in no way likened with those who are divided from the unity of the body of Christ. We are joined in no communion, not in partial communion, in no communion, says the Holy Father, Leo the Great, doctor of the Church, Roman Pontiff. Pius IX says on the top of page 12, and he who so separates himself from this see becomes a stranger to the Christian religion, since he ceases to be part of its structure. So those who are not subject to the Roman see are strangers to the Christian religion, according to Pope Pius IX. Pope Leo XIII, but he who in his manner of thinking and acting would separate himself from his shepherd and from his sovereign pastor, the Roman Pontiff, has no further bond with Christ. Where is partial communion? He has no further bond with Christ, says the Roman Pontiff. It is in contradiction to what...
Yeah, but if he was to interpret these in the strictest possible sense, he would refute what he said in the beginning.
This
obviously,
this is obviously the distinction between like somebody who is not invincibly ignorant and someone who is.
Like what I'm basically this would refute exactly what he said in the beginning when he was talking about there being certain forms of supernatural teaching, valid sacraments, and certain graces which are present among those in a non-Catholic sect. If he's to take no communion with Christ in the sense in which he wants to use it against Vatican II, like they're like what these things that which he mentioned are not Christic either. Not only they're not ecclesial, but they're not Christic. That makes no sense. I have no idea how he holds these two propositions together. He can't have his cake and eat it too. But I got to go grab water. I'll be back in 1 second.
Pope Benedict XVI said that mental prayer is an ordinary means that enables the disciple of Jesus to live in intimacy with the divine teacher. Yet, how does one engage in mental prayer? One of the greatest masters of the spiritual life was Saint Ignatius of Loyola. In the 19th century, a certain Jesuit priest decided to write a complete guide to mental prayer, patterned on the works of Saint Ignatius. Check out this work on Amazon, completely typeset, under the title, A Brief Guide to Mental Prayer According to the Mind of Saint Ignatius.
You overran the advert, it's over.
I'm back. Don't worry, Hassan. I'm back. You don't have to entertain the people. You don't have to do it. I'm back. I'm here. Dude, I think Dr. Fastigi is going to do a good job. I just have a feeling. We're probably only going to get through the opening statements in this. I will review the rest of it for members. So you guys should become members. If you want to watch the rest of the review after we review the opening statements. But anyways, let us continue.
What you see in the first column, Pius XI. No one in the Church of Christ is in the Church of Christ, and no one remains in it unless he acknowledges and accepts with obedience the authority and the power of Peter and his legitimate successors. How, therefore, can these Orthodox churches, schismatic churches, which hold to heresy as well, how can they be considered to be part of the Church of Christ?
Why do you say uh-oh, Hassan?
Well, I mean, what are the potential ramifications for him?
Oh. Okay, let's continue.
Even partially. There is no basis, no tradition for this. As a matter of fact, there is anti-tradition for everything that Vatican II is stating. St. Cyprian says on the top of page 13, and then this is an answer to question 3, is it true that in every valid celebration of the Eucharist, the one Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church becomes present? St. Cyprian says the schismatic dares to set up an altar and to profane the truth of the divine victim by means of false sacrifices. How different that is from what...
What? Did you hear that, Hassan?
I don't understand how he's trying to connect those. That's kind of wild.
That is what, like, why would this text be the one that you use? Is Saint Cyprian talking about false sacrifices offered by schismatics in a false altar? Does that mean the valid Eucharist? What? Okay, this is yeesh.
Vatican II says. And St. Leo the Great says, elsewhere, meaning outside the church, there is neither a legitimate priesthood nor true sacrifices. And St. Jerome, best of all, says, God hates the sacrifices of these, referring to heretics, and pushes them away from himself. And whenever they come together in the name of the Lord, he abhors their stench and holds his nose. Would Vatican II say that? Would John Paul II say that? If not, why? If this great doctor of the church says it. And fourth question, whether the Holy Ghost uses the schismatic and or heretical sects as means of salvation. On page 15, St. Pope Gregory XVI, he who is separated from the body of the Catholic Church, however laudable his conduct may otherwise seem, will never enjoy eternal life. And the anger of God remains on him by reason of the crime of which he is guilty in living separated from Christ. Pius IX, page 16, the true church is one, holy, Catholic, apostolic.
Okay, this is, okay. Alexander, the separated churches and communities as such have by no means. Is your point that that Vatican II calls them churches? Okay, yeah, actually, I was denying Catholic dogma last night when I said, yeah, my mom went to church last Sunday because she's a Protestant. Okay, yeah, I'm denying Catholic dogma right now. Or like when you say, oh yeah, not Donald Trump, Mike Pence is a Christian. Well, actually, guys, he's not a true follower of Christ. He's not a Catholic. Like, come on, this is pedantic and stupid. Like, I don't know what else to say.
Apostolic and Roman, unique. The chair founded on Peter by the Lord's words, outside of her fold is to be found neither the true faith nor eternal salvation. Would these words be repeated by John Paul II? No, they would not. He cannot, because he holds to heresy, and he teaches it to us. And I leave you to read the rest. And I say that our interpretation of Vatican II is correct. It is clear from the subsequent documents and actions of the Vatican II popes and bishops. Consider the innumerable ecumenical abominations of John Paul II, of which I mention only a few, which, according to every traditional moral theology book, are mortal sins. Mortal sins against the first commandment, the kissing of the Quran, the praise of the voodoo religion.
The praise of the voodoo religion? Which one is that in reference to? Have you heard that before?
What did he mean?
What is he talking about? Yeah, the kissing of the Quran was an L, but
that's very bad.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. It gets handed book by a man with large beard, kisses it. It's the Quran. All the Muslims are pissed. All of the Christians are pissed. Oy vey, what are we going to do? But the voodoo, okay. What is this? John Paul II voodoo religion. What? I've literally never heard this. Okay, tradition in action. John Paul II praises voodoo worship. Okay, let me see. Yeah, that's a pretty long quote. I don't feel like reading it. I'll pick out something if it's especially relevant. I've literally never heard about this before, but apparently it's a thing.
The first Congress of Assisi, where a Buddha, a golden Buddha, was placed on the altar of God.
Okay, yeah, Assisi, yeah, that was an L to Hassan. Yeah,
sure, but these are matters of like impropriety. And it has nothing to do with like you could argue that like the again, you can just go back to arguing that the conditions do exist for the right practice of these things, but that the conditions were not followed. That would just be a moral failure.
Yeah, but okay. So what is my big question is, what does this have to do with Vatican II's ecclesiology?
I'm kind of confused by the idea that like a moral failure necessarily corresponds to like some kind of intentional act of idolatry on the part of the Roman Pontiff. That's a bit.
Mr. Redeemed Med said Holy Cope. Okay. Yeah, I think that's profanation, actually. You're getting banned.
Bro.
Okay. Anyways, let's continue.
Poor guy.
What do you mean, poor guy?
The guy you just killed.
I banned him. Why poor guy? I felt like banning him. A CC prayer meeting. Okay, I don't get why this is connected.
An incense by Buddhist monks. The second meeting of Assisi, where idolatry, the worship of fire, was permitted in the courtyard of the basilica, or being blessed with the tila, which is the Hindu sign of Shiva, who is the god of sex in the Hindu religion. The taking part in Lutheran worship in 1983, his praise of Martin Luther, that arch heretic and filthy man.
Yeah. Bishop Sanborn was real for that. I really don't like Luther. He was a filthy man.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
Joint declaration.
Okay, you're not Hassan. Actually, you're not being properly Pope-splaining. You need to Pope-splain all of these. Well, there are a lot of Hindu gods of sex. Well, I mean, they are
pretty much all of them are.
Well, they are Indians, so
yeah.
Sex is gross and sinful. That's so true, King. That's so true. I agree.
With the Lutherans, which blatantly denies.
That sounds like I mean.
What I want to say is like it's hard when we get into these issues because I don't know what to say, but like that I have a lot of issues with the way things have been said and done.
Pope Francis would excommunicate you if you heard you insult Luther. That's so real. Pope Francis excommunicates me for insulting Luther. It's so over. Sins against synodality going on. Okay, the constant heteropraxis of the Vatican II popes, especially the grave violations of the First Commandment, confirm the heretical import of the doctrines in questions, their official words and deeds. That doesn't follow. That doesn't follow at all, actually. That would be like me, for example, pointing to Joseph Kloitkin and his moral failures, and then saying, well, actually, Vatican I's ecclesiology is basically based entirely on Joseph Kloitkin, and therefore Vatican I is wrong. Like it's pretty dumb reasoning. I mean, let's just be honest here. It's a rhetorical tactic meant to.
I'll agree that like the lack of personal holiness of somebody should make you suspect what they say, but you can't, like, that's not like a premise in a syllogism that has a conclusion of this person is incorrect. That's not how it works. I don't know where that comes from.
The GDP per capita of India is about to be surpassed by Ghana in like 5 years.
So true.
Bro! Okay, I should be laughing about that because that's a lot of people who, are broke, but that's crazy. I just laughed at that because of how insane that is to think about. How is India doing that bad? How are they that down bad? Is it because all their smart people keep coming to America? We need to send all of the American Indians. We need to send Vivek back to India. We need to send them all back to India. Send Nikki Haley back to India. Send Usha Vance back to India. Send all of the Indians back to India so they can fix India. Make sure they're not surpassed by Ghana. Oh my goodness. Hassan, what has happened to your people?
So true. What's actually happening is that they abolished the caste system and now everybody's as dumb as everybody else.
Whoa, based caste system, W. Wow, that's crazy. Vivek for president of India. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, Vivek and Usha. Vivek president, Usha Vance vice president. That's the plan, guys.
The Council of Trent concerning justification.
Wait, question.
The approval of a mass without a consecration.
Whoa, what?
Filthy man. The joint declaration with the Lutherans.
Okay, yeah, the point against the joint declaration, I've always hated that point because basically the joint declaration was made between Catholics and the World Lutherans, and the World Lutherans aren't the Lutherans that actually care about traditional Lutheranism. Basically, it was a massive Catholic W where we got a bunch of Lutherans to agree with the Council of Trent on justification. That was the whole thing. That was literally the whole thing. It wasn't that the Vatican was accepting like the Augsburg Confession and its original intent or anything like that. It's basically a bunch of Lutherans lied about what their tradition believes, and then we were like, oh yeah, if that's what you mean, then you're right. Well, so we got all of them to agree with us. That was such a W.
Yeah, that's true, but it didn't go anywhere. Like they didn't return after that.
Yeah, because those are the ones with like transgender bishops.
Yeah,
we got the tranny Lutherans to submit to Trent. That's basically
what I mean. Like, why are we even bothering with people like that?
Sanborn wrote a critique of the joint declaration. Okay, I'd be interested in what his critique exactly is, because that would be crazy to say that the tranny Lutherans were, because most people assume that we're talking about like the Lutheran version of like the Orthodox Presbyterian Church or something like that. Demonetized, it's over. Oh, was I not supposed to say tranny? Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I wasn't supposed to say tranny. This is going to get demonetized now. Did anyone see my comment on the ancient Mayan and Aztec religion? No, I didn't.
Which blatantly denies the Council of Trent concerning justification. The approval of a mass without a consecration.
Basically, I've read a lot of the early Catholic responses to the Augsburg in particular, like the Confutatio, for example. And what the joint declaration says is indistinguishable from the early Catholic response to like the basically from the Lutheran Reformation to the Council of Trent, like the way they formulated polemically against the Lutherans in order to try to explain to the Lutherans what the heck we believed. So it's pretty strange to me that somebody would say that the Joint Declaration is actually teaching anything against the Council of Trent.
This is defection.
Wait, approve the Mass without a consecration? What is he talking about? Do you know about this, Hassan?
He's talking about the anaphora of Mari and Adai. Remember that situation?
Oh, yeah.
Religious
I remember.
Scattered. Yeah, and the intention of the consecration is collected at the end instead of at the point of saying the words.
Yeah. I remember. But that would be really strange because for him, he would have to argue that there was a traditional liturgy of the Catholic Church which was completely invalid and lacked the consecration.
He would have to argue that there were massive portions of the church, for example, ones that were using the anaphora of Sharar, that they were all invalid masses for like hundreds and hundreds of years, and nobody said anything about it.
Yeah, that's cope, Hassan. You're actually coping right now. You're cope. The bro just muted himself. He's mad at me. Okay, 160 watching, only 66 likes. Interesting. That's true. Okay, let's continue.
This is to defect from the true faith. Imagine a Mass without a consecration, saying that we have a communion of faith with heretics, saying that schismatics have an apostolic mission. From where? From whom? If it is not from the Pope. Permitting Protestants and Orthodox
where's your apostolic mission?
To receive communion. John Paul II himself giving communion to Tony Blair, a Protestant who believes in abortion.
Wait, what? Tony Blair? Did St. John Paul II give communion to Tony Blair? Let me see. Okay. Tony Blair. Wait, it literally, the first article that pops up, Tony Blair, the British Prime Minister who converted to the Catholic faith.
Externally, yeah. It's pretty much a nominal conversion, though.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about the situation.
Permitting participation in non-Catholic worship, which has always been considered communicatio in sacris, mortal sin. The distinction in the 1983 code of Christi Fideles and Christi Fideles Catholici. An unheard of distinction, as if you could be faithful to Christ and at the same time not Catholic. If you think that, read these quotes that I have given you today. If you think that that's true, read what they said about the necessity to belong to the Catholic Church in order to be faithful to Christ. Saying that the Jews, their expectation of the Messiah is not in vain. And the American bishops publicly say that Catholics should not try to proselytize the Jews. And the Vatican making agreements with the Eastern Orthodox saying we should not proselytize them. It says it in the ecumenical directory. We should not try to convert them. And recently, Cardinal Caspar hinting at the recognition of Anglican orders, which were declared invalid.
Real? Okay. Okay, this is so epic when you get future future how do you put it guesses of what's going to happen, like imminently the cardinal said that we're going to imminently the Vatican II Bergoglian sect is going to recognize Anglican orders. This debate was 20 years ago. Still hasn't happened, buddy. It's happening tomorrow, guys. Trust the plan. Imminently, the Bergoglian sect is going to do it. 20 years later, still hasn't done it. Yeah, that was.
Hey, Deuterocomical. I know you're joking, but I'd rather that joke not be made. Thank you.
Yeah, get wrecked.
Valid by Pope Leo XIII. And these are all things which are traditionally abominations. Look at what Moses did to the golden calf. He did not have an ecumenical service with those who were worshiping it. Look at Solomon, how he was condemned for his idolatry. Look at Jeroboam in the Old Testament, also condemned for his idolatry. Look at the Jews and their worship of Moloch. And the martyrs of the early church, put to death by schismatics, Protestants, or by pagans. Did they kiss those idols? Did they have ecumenical services with those people? Absolutely not. Vatican II is a heresy.
Okay, like the last half, he just listed a bunch of stuff that wasn't Vatican II, and then he said Vatican II is a heresy. Okay.
I'm confused by what he's trying to establish here. What's he doing? He's just listing like a bunch of things or something. What's the...
Yeah, I think he just listed. I mean, he kind of just listed a bunch. I mean, his main point, I thought it wasn't terrible, and I hope that they'll be able to get into this in the cross examination. But his main point was about the sort of ecclesiology of ecclesial elements being present in non. Yeah, I think if I had to ask one question, I'd be like, okay, whatever. A lot of those moral failings, like we would agree with when it comes to many of them, that they are more moral failings. But really, like foundationally, the question that's trying to be established here is: are those elements of supernatural truth and the supernatural working of God among those outside of the Catholic Church? Are those elements ecclesial or are they non-ecclesial? Like that's really just what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you could say that there are those elements and that they are non-ecclesial. You would have to give a very serious explanation on this point. Okay, now it's time for fastidious.
Thanks, Battle. That prayer deliberately, because I think we have patron saint, St. Robert Bellarmine said it has always been maintained that union with the Vicar of Christ, that is the Pope, is a sign of Catholic unity. Bishop Sanborn is not in union with the Vicar of Christ. Therefore, he is in schism. And all of those statements that he made about the danger of schism and outside the Catholic Church, there is no salvation. If he's wrong, which I believe he is, apply to him and those who follow him. The great doctor of the church, St. Augustine, said that there is nothing more grievous than the sacrilege of schism. There can be no just necessity for destroying the unity of the church. To start a schism from the unity of Christ or to be in schism is an immense evil. That's what we're dealing with here. To claim that a council of 2,300 bishops united with the Vicar of Christ would teach heresy is a serious challenge to the indefectibility of the church.
So true.
Christ said, I will be with you.
Yeah, what do so I actually thought about this, Hassan. I was curious about your thoughts. So when it comes to the traditional teaching about the protection of the teaching of the episcopate, Shaban, he talks about this at length, but this doesn't merely have to do with the possession of jurisdiction, but it also has to do with the possession of the sacramental character as well. So it flows forth from the fact that they have the orders of the episcopate. So I think it would be very difficult for the Sedevacantis thesis to hold, or really any thesis about Vatican II that's very negative about it to hold to the very foundation for the indefectibility of the episcopate.
Yeah.
Which critical study?
I have an issue with Fastigi's response here, because this just presupposes that it actually was the Roman Pontiff, whereas Sanborn says that John the 23rd was only John the 23rd was only materially the Pope. So Fastigi's point here would be irrelevant.
That's true. Dominic, $1. Thank you, sir. What is boom? That's boom. It stands for boom, but with Q's in it. Like, look at it in all caps. Okay, boom. See, it looks like boom, doesn't it? Yeah. Are you Orthodox in communion with Rome?
Until the end of the age. Now, what we always like to do is to get started on what is the Catholic Church and what does Vatican II say is the Catholic Church, the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. But first, I'd like to begin with the definition of the Church of St. Robert Bellarmine, the doctor of the Church. And he says, the one and true Church is the assembly of human beings joined together by the profession of the same Christian faith and the communion of the same sacraments under the government of legitimate pastors, especially the one vicar of Christ on earth, the Roman Pontiff. I would hope that Bishop Sanborn would agree with this definition. I think he would. How does Vatican II define the Catholic Church? In the decree on the Eastern Catholic Churches, we read, the Holy Catholic Church, which is the mystical body of Christ, is made up of the faithful, who are organically united in the Holy Spirit by the same faith, the same sacraments, and the same government.
So
it
true.
almost comes point by point from St. Robert Bellarmine.
Boom!
So to claim that Vatican II is giving some kind of aberrant definition of the church is to say that St. Robert Bellarmine did not give a reliable definition.
Exactly. The means of salvation aren't enough.
Sorry, what did you say?
Just having some of the means of salvation isn't enough. You need all three of those elements.
Yeah. Sorry. Why didn't you read this? I responded to this chat. I can read it.
He did.
And you do a stream reviewing his critical study, reading at the beginning of the stream, in which you identify the errors in his analysis. I asked you which critical, like, what are you talking about? With the
Is he talking about the one on the
justification?
Yeah.
I mean, I could.
Why is Isaac of Nineveh canonized? Yeah, basically. He was added to the martyrology, so.
Okay. Anyways.
I'm not happy about
14.
What do you say, Hassan?
I'm kind of not happy about the Isaac of Nineveh thing, but yeah.
Bro's not happy about it. Well, suck it up, schismatic.
There is a similar invocation.
Wait, what? Why do you talk the second that I turn it back on?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm buying my Isaac of Nineveh. It is widely it is widely accessible online, but I'm asking you which though. I ask you which critical study you're talking about. The one of what he says about the joint declaration?
Or in Lumen Gentium 14, there is a similar invocation of the three marks of visible unity, namely faith, sacraments, and hierarchical structure of government. We read, fully incorporated into the church are those who, possessing the Spirit of Christ, accept all the means of salvation.
Okay, pause.
What?
Please don't call people who are on the Roman martyrology scum. Please do not do that. I said I wasn't happy about him being canonized. I didn't say that, like, he is scum. Can you chill, please?
Oh.
That's pretty bad.
Oh, the new ecclesiology written by Bishop Sanborn is a double column analysis between pre-Vatican II. Okay, I mean, I can look at it. Let me look it up to make sure.
It's probably going to be one of those things where they take Mortalium Animos and put it next to Unitatis, and they're like, look, it's different. I think I've seen bits of this before.
Okay. Yeah, it's on traditionalmass.org. It's 21 pages. Yeah, he has all the ones next to each other. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's that one. There's a bunch of stuff from Pius IX, Leo the 13th, Pius the 12th. Yeah, and it compares all of them. Okay. Yeah. Also, RZ is live. Redeem Zoomer is live. Okay, don't leave me and go to Redeem Zoomer. But okay, so someone called you a pseudo said on an obscure Joe Heschmeyer comment section yesterday, Wagner. Why am I called a pseudo said? Why did somebody call me a pseudo Sedevacantism? What did I say? Oy vey. Oy vey. Oh, man, that's unfortunate. You defend Pope Francis, and this is how they treat you. RZ debated the catechumen. Yeah, I saw that. I actually was in. I DM'd Redeem Zoomer about a few of the points that were made during that debate. But anyways, let's continue. Hassan's. What do you kids call it? Do they call it crashing out? I think that's what Hassan is doing against that one guy. Probably because of Aiken. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Pope James Aiken the first. If I disagree with him, I am a Sedevacantist somehow.
What?
Pope Aiken the first. In all fairness, it's only you and the Seds who say that kissing your girlfriend is a mortal sin, or that you can't go to dances, so you can't blame people.
Wait,
what the heck?
Most of the Sedes are like ICKSP pilled on morals. I don't know where this is coming from. Almost all the Sedes I've ever seen on moral issues are extremely lax.
Yeah. What? I don't get why. I don't get why I can't blame people because I have more traditional and better founded moral opinions than they have. I don't get that, bro. L take.
People are mad because when you make moral opinions from authority, they're like, but where's the argument? And you say it's from authority, and then they like quietly fume about it.
Yeah. Or
the Sede biker guy's morals are like more lax than some Anglicans. Come on, man. Sede biker is a joke.
Sede biker? Well, who said a biker?
He's a crazy Twitter person.
No. I defended your honor in that thread, Wagner. Okay, I still don't know which apparently there was an obscure Joe Heschmeyer video where there was a comment of somebody attacking me for some reason in a Joe Heschmeyer comment. Did he do like a video where I was somehow mentioned in it or something? Like, why were people talking about me in the comment section? I need to look at this. Joe Heschmeyer. Okay. Let me look at videos. Does baptism save us? Okay, that I'm sure it wasn't that one. Yeah, doesn't look like there was anything. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. Wow, okay, there's 3 super chats. What are these super chats? Keep up your wonderful works. Also, holding hands is cringe. So true, Big Steve. So true. Can the Eucharist Can the Eucharist only be handled by clerics in ordinary circumstances by divine law? If so, how could reception in the hand be permitted? That's not by divine law. If it was by divine law, it could never be dispensed with. Which
where does this by divine law part even come from? Like, what's the basis for this?
Yeah, because if it was a divine law, it would have to come via divine revelation. Is there anything in divine revelation that you're thinking of that either formally or virtually states this? Because like private revelation couldn't at all support this, because private revelation by definition has its end as in like particular precepts. It's not something that's binding upon the entire church, like the precepts of salvation. I don't get why that would be divine law. I'm pretty sure even those who are like big enemies of communion in the hand wouldn't even say that this is divine law, because if it was divine law, then it could literally never be dispensed with. So, like, for example, if like a priest, is in a remote village and there's Catholics there, and he dies and like spills all of the Eucharistic hosts on the ground, then like nobody would ever be able to like pick them up and consume them. Like, that would be sinning against divine law. So I I don't know how it would be divine law. Arguments are from authority are based if you're Catholic. Well, our religion is a religion of authority. So, yeah. Engagement gives you no new rights to your fiance's body. That's so true, Hassan. Thank you for schooling Beardson. I didn't school Beardson. I had a friendly conversation with Beardson where I gave him a explanation of a few points, and he seemed to be pretty receptive. Community post. What? Community post. Okay, let me see. Which people/channels do you wish more Catholics were engaging with? Okay. I'm assuming somebody said me, and then a few people like cried about it. Okay. Anyways, let's continue. Actually, do I have another super chat? Yeah. Popular Catholic TikToker has been live the last week claiming makeup is a sin. Also, I can't kiss my girlfriend. Also, I showed her your video on the problem of evil and she loved it. Thanks, King. Yo, really? There's now all these popular Catholic TikTok. That's a woman. Okay, so there's a popular Catholic TikToker woman who for some reason had some sort of contact with Hassan and I stating something about how makeup is bad. And then now she's doing TikTok lives about it. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's based. Rare woman W.
Makeup isn't a sin, by the way.
Yeah.
It can be worn, but like the question is on extent, type, and intention, obviously.
Okay, I'm gonna continue. St. Thomas said makeup isn't a sin, didn't he? Doesn't not under the specific, like he didn't talk about Hassan, did he? No, he didn't talk about particularly like placing cosmetics on your face like we would think about. He talked about adornments, which adornments would include like various types of clothing or other types of like making yourself more attractive. And he said that that's not
painting of the face is an ancient practice. So I think he may have mentioned it, but
he did mention it. I didn't think that was something that they did in medieval Europe.
Yeah, but
I know it's an ancient practice because like St. Clement talks about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was being done in medieval Europe by a higher class people. But
I thought you were going to say by prostitutes. That is
no, Theodora the Monophysite is not in the Martyrology, Justinus. Just look at the Martyrology, bro. It's free on archive.org. Just go to Martyrologium Romanum 2004. Just look at it.
Bro.
What is a good resource on the topic of affection before marriage? There is almost nothing good in English. Sorry.
Yeah, church fathers said that the demons taught women to do makeup. That's so true. That's so true. That's like what Pope Francis says too.
What's this about men wearing gold chains? I just don't like cholo culture. It has nothing to do with like
cholo. What the frick is cholo?
You don't know what a cholo is?
What is a cholo?
Google cholo.
Is it like a nice way of saying what I think it's saying?
I think people should not dress in a way that makes them seem like
it's a Latino subculture. What the heck? How did you know that word?
Because there's too many of them on Papist Hub type places.
Is it because
frankly, the entire subculture extremely disgusts me. I find it difficult to put into words how much it disgusts me.
Okay. Anyways, after the brief aside, watch Timothy Gordon and do the opposite of that. Yeah, basically. After that brief aside, let's get back to this beautiful debate where Robert Fastigi is about to go off.
Church, together with her entire
seconds,
namely faith, sacraments, and hierarchical structure of government. We read, fully incorporated into the church are those who, possessing the Spirit of Christ, accept all the means of salvation given to the church, together with her entire organization, and who by the bonds constituted by the profession of faith, the sacraments, ecclesiastical government and communion are joined in the visible structure of the church, who rules her through the supreme pontiff and the bishops. This is the definition of the Catholic Church and who is a member of the Catholic Church according to the Second Vatican Council. You can see it's a logical progression from the 3 points of St. Robert Bellamy. Now, the question posed by Bishop Sanborn is it proper to speak of separated or schismatic churches as part of the church? Well, Vatican II does not consider them part of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church.
True.
That's made very, very clear in Lumen Gentium 8, that the church, this church, that is the Church of Christ, the one Church of Christ, this church, constituted and organized in this world, or in the world as a society, subsists in the Catholic Church, which is governed by the successor Peter and by the bishops in communion with him. Although many elements of sanctification and of truth are found outside of its visible structure, which I'm glad to hear the bishop in his opening remarks admitted, that grace can exist outside of the visible structure of the church, true baptism can exist outside of the visible structure, true sacraments can exist in the schismatic Eastern churches. He concedes this. But these, all of these elements of sanctification and truth, the council tells us, these elements, as gifts belonging to the Church of Christ, are forces impelling towards Catholic unity. So all of these elements of truth and holiness outside of the visible structure belong by right to the Catholic Church, and they exist outside of the visible structure. Now, the Catholic Church does not teach, either in the Second Vatican Council or after, that non-Catholic churches are part of the one subsistence of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church on earth. This was made clear in the year 2000 in Dominus Jesus, and it points out that Catholic faithful are required to profess that there is a historical continuity rooted in the apostolic succession between the church founded by Christ and the Catholic Church. This is the single Church of Christ which our Savior, after his resurrection, entrusted to Peter's care, commissioning him and the other apostles to extend and rule her, erected for all ages as the pillar and mainstay of the truth. This church, constituted and organized as a society in the present world, subsisted in the Catholic Church, governed by the successor of Peter and by the bishops in communion with him. It's just repeating what was taught at the Second Vatican Council. But then this qualification is made. With the expression subsisted in, the Second Vatican Council sought to harmonize two doctrinal statements. On the one hand, that the Church of Christ, despite the divisions which exist among Christians, continues to exist fully only in the Catholic Church. And on the other hand, that outside of her structure, many elements can be found of sanctification and truth. That is, in those churches and ecclesial communities which are not yet in full communion with the Catholic Church. And then in footnote 56, it clarifies the whole idea, which has been set up as a straw man by Bishop Sanborn, that somehow we're saying the Orthodox churches are part of the one Church of Christ on earth in this one subsistence. It says the interpretation of those who would derive from the formula subsisted in, the thesis that the one Church of Christ could subsist also in non-Catholic churches and ecclesial communities, is therefore contrary to the authentic meaning of Lumen Gentium. The Council instead chose the word subsisted precisely to clarify that there exists only one subsistence of the true church, while outside her visible structure there exist elementa ecclesia, elements of the church, which.
So is this actually the guy from anybody know the background of the actual recording of this, like how this got recorded? I have no idea. Was this actually the guy from Novus Ordo Watch? Or is this just some random person who sent it to him? Because this is crazy. Yeah, the camera zoomed in 8 times. Yeah, this is terrible. Anyways, I'm gonna continue. He's cooking right now, right, Hassan? Anything bad so far? I think he's doing a great job. Yeah, so true, Hassan. Thank you, Hassan. Very true.
Being elements of that same church tend and lead towards the Catholic Church. Now, the question is this: whether or not those outside of the visible structure could be said to be joined in some way to the one church. It's interesting that this is not simply a teaching of the Second Vatican Council. Rather, it is the clear teaching of another ecumenical council, namely the Council of Florence. In the Decree of Union with the Armenians, it specifically says that baptism joins the person to Christ and the church. I will read it to you. This is from the Ecumenical Council of Florence. Holy baptism holds the first place among all the sacraments, for it is the gate to the spiritual life. Through it, we become members of Christ and of the body of the church. Now, if there is valid baptism outside of the visible structure, according to the Council of Florence, these people outside of the visible structure who have baptism must in some sense belong to the church. Because that's what baptism does, if it's valid baptism. Now, they're not members of the Catholic Church, but they're joined to the church and they're to be honored by the name Christian. This passage from the Council of Florence is cited in the Decree of Ecumenism number 2. So this is not a novel understanding of the church. It is rather simply making explicit what was already there, but perhaps had been forgotten. Even going back to the Council of Nicaea, those who had departed from Catholic unity and became members of the Cathars were united back, and they were not to be rebaptized or reordained. See? Even their ordinations were considered valid. So what we can say is that, again, what I said last time, sacraments are means of salvation. We acknowledge that outside of the visible structure of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, there exist true sacraments. Therefore, the statement which our bishop here says is heretical is if he could stand in judgment over 2,300 bishops united with the Vicar of Christ, and he could say that this is heresy, this is arrogance, and quite a risky endeavor on the part of one man to say that 2,300 bishops and the Vicar of Christ teach heresy, which they really don't. But all that was being said there was that the Holy Spirit has not refrained from making use of these churches as means of salvation. But even in our church, what is used by the Holy Spirit as a means of salvation? The sacraments. So if sacraments exist outside of the visible structure, though in schism, the Holy Spirit can make use of those sacraments as means of salvation, and can make use of these churches, though they lack unity. But the Holy Spirit has not refrained from making use, and that's the Latin phrase, of making use of these churches as means of salvation, which derive their very efficacy from the fullness of truth found in the Catholic Church. Now, this is a nuance of language. To use the word heresy on the basis of a nuance of language is most treacherous and most dangerous, because we've seen the great evil as a...
Okay, what the frick is up with this camera work? This camera work's crazy, but he's cooking right now. He's cooking. I literally have nothing to say.
I'm trying not to look at it. It's giving me a headache.
Yeah, the camera. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But yeah, he's basically making the exact points that we made earlier. So yeah, I will. Actually, I think there are some super chats that I might have missed. Can I go to a prop mass in trade for friend go mass? No.
So long as you go to mass and don't skip mass, you can attend.
Well, Benedict XIV says other things too.
Yeah, just don't participate in any way.
And also that there's no grave danger to yourself or grave danger of scandal to others as well. I think those are the 3 rules that Benedict XIV gives.
I don't understand this joke about Americans being fat. What do you mean?
I don't know what he's saying.
Oh.
St. Augustine says of schism. So this is what I would like to make clear. Now, he then goes on towards the end of bringing out, and with rhetorical flourish, and I admire him for his rhetorical gifts of all these activities, the Pope kissing the Quran and so forth. Well, there is some degree of historical precedence for recognizing that there are elements of truth and holiness outside of the Catholic Church. And, when he says, well, we allow these pagans to come, well, we know the 3 magi who came to pay their homage to Christ. The word in Greek is magoi, which translates as magi, not astrologers, not wise men. Historical research shows that the magi might have been Zoroastrian priests from Persia, and they were awaiting a Messiah. But here, these pagan priests, if you want to call them that, come and kneel before the tabernacle of the incarnate Word. Did they desecrate? Was this an abomination? That the Blessed Mother and St. Joseph allowed these pagans to come and pay homage to the very Word of God? A number of popes issued this papal chapel.
Oh, what? That's W. That's W. So true, Dr. Fastigi. So true.
Today as the Sistine Chapel after Pope Sixtus IV. It was completed under Julius II, who died in 1513. Along with the Old Testament prophets, there are these sibyls painted by the great Catholic painter Michelangelo. Sibyls are pagan prophetisms, but they are pointing the way to Christ. This is in a papal chapel. Is that an abomination? Then why didn't all these popes remove it? Why? Because there is this recognition of so many saints and teachers of the faith that non-Christian religions contain semina verbi, logoi, spermatikoi, seeds of the word. So much so that Clement of Alexandria said that the Son of God is the origin of all human knowledge in successive revelations, even to the barbarians. There is but one universal revelation, but in many testaments or epiphanies, but Clement of Alexandria is quite clear they all culminate in the fullness of revelation, namely our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Now, it's interesting that there's been this tension, which is understandable because it's a tension in Scripture between recognizing the evil and shortcomings of non-Christian worship and also recognizing that they contain elements of truth and holiness. It's interesting that Roberto di Nobili, this great Jesuit who died in 1656, dressed as a Hindu ascetic and put on his forehead the sandalwood paste used by the Brahmins. He was a Jesuit and the Dominicans attacked him. He appealed to Pope Gregory XV, who defended him as this was a proper means of evangelization, to incorporate elements of that culture. Matteo Ricci went to China, learned the Chinese language, and recognized in Confucius a wise man who anticipated many of the moral teachings, just as Aristotle and Plato did. He said that it was not wrong to pay homage to Confucius because it was recognized as a civil duty, a civil action. The Pope in 1659 approved of the veneration of Confucius as a civil duty. Later it was rescinded in 1704, but then Pope Pius XII, under his pontificate, reconsidered it, but by then it was too late, since the communists very soon took over China. All I'm saying here is what he says is a novelty. If you know Catholic history, there are precedents for this.
Yeah, so true, Dr. Fastigi. Dr. Fastigi's going off.
Recognizing that there are elements of truth and holiness. As for kissing the Quran, the Pope was making a gesture recognizing the elements of truth and holiness there.
Bro, come on. Okay, never mind. Oh, no. Okay, never mind.
Wait, what did he just say?
Oh, no, okay.
Recognizing that there are...
Okay, let's actually go back to this whole thing.
And who anticipated many of the moral teachings, just as Aristotle and Plato did. He said that it was not wrong to pay homage to Confucius because it was recognized as a civil duty, a civil action. The Pope in 1659 approved of the veneration of Confucius as a civil duty. Later it was rescinded in 1704, but then Pope Pius XII, under his pontificate, reconsidered it, but by then it was too late, since the communists very soon took over China. All I'm saying here is what he says is a novelty. If you know Catholic history, there are precedents for this, recognizing that there are elements of truth and holiness. As for kissing the Quran, the Pope was making a gesture recognizing the elements of truth and holiness there.
Bruh. Okay, that was the comment that I said, bruh. About.
Even if that's true, that's still insufficient. That's pretty bad.
Is holding the SSPX view on canonization sinful? It would definitely be
if you know that the church teaches contrary to it. Yeah,
but since the church teaches the infallibility of canonizations as something abstracted from the process of inquiry, then yeah, if you know this is what the church teaches and reject it, then obviously you're sinning. Yeah, that was that was not a that was not a good explanation of Saint John Paul II kissing the Quran. Yeah, Our Lady of La Salette weeps. So true. Anyways, let's continue.
And it is acknowledged by Pope Gregory VII that we believe with the Muslims, we believe in and confess one God, though in a different manner, who is creator of all of the ages and governor of the world. We praise and honor every day. So here is the Pope in the Middle Ages recognizing in a letter to the King of Morocco, or Mauritania.
Dude, shut up. Shut up about kissing your girlfriend. Shut up. I'm banning you. Right from chat. Get out of my chat.
That we honor and praise.
I don't let fake cells in my chat, okay?
What was he saying, bro?
He said he's recognizing the truth and holiness in his girlfriend by kissing her. Yeah, get out of here.
That's kind of yucky. What's wrong with you?
That's yucky, bro. That's gross.
Why are they?
Everybody's in this live chat to escape all of the simping and all of the fake celery.
You control me. You don't have to be like a demon about it. Like you can calm down a little bit.
Demon? You just call him a demon?
Things that seem like are kind of only like nuancedly bad for you are like very obviously disgusting to me, I guess.
Okay, but demon's a little far, even though I find it gross too. But
it was an adjective. It was meant in like an adjective way. I didn't mean he is a demon.
Oh,
I apologize if I put that idea out there.
You apologize if people are seriously considering whether there are demonic spirits who have started are in my live chat currently to convince everyone to kiss their girlfriends. So why did John Paul II do it? Does anyone have a good explanation? I don't know.
No one knows. Literally nobody knows. It's anybody who tries to give you like a clear explanation is trying to read his mind. We don't know. It's as simple as that.
Come on, it was a funny joke. No, it wasn't. Kissing your girlfriend is never funny. Eye contact with women before marriage is demonic. Or after marriage. Don't forget that. After marriage as well. How do I join? You're not joining.
Wait, somebody goes, so you guys are condemning the Pope for kissing the Quran. Why would anybody say, this is not how you speak about the moral errors of a Roman pontiff? You don't say you condemn the Pope. You just say that you think that was an incorrect choice, that you think it was an immoral choice. And he should have known better. Come on,
I've seen Uniate say that he thought it was an Arabic Bible. Why didn't anybody just ask him? Like that, wait. This is what, yeah, exactly. Deuterocomical. No one ever asked him after Assisi. I don't get why nobody was just like, hey, people are really upset about this, and it's making people
became
out. Can you just tell us why you did that?
The time that people became really busy was upset about it was a bit later. That's the thing. It wasn't
Muslims who were upset during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes no sense to me why people don't just ask about this. Why there isn't at least one guy in the Vatican who knows the Pope who's just like, okay, this is really weird. What did you mean by this? Like, could you clarify?
It doesn't even make sense from an Islamic perspective, because in Islam, you're not supposed to touch the Quran unless you're a believer and unless you're ritually pure. So it's a bit confusing. Like,
secondary object of infallibility. Dominic, I don't want to talk
Joe,
about
you've literally read so many texts that go over secondary object. Well, what is wrong with you? Sorry, bro. Like,
dude, Dominic, I don't want to talk about
Come on, Joe.
I remember when I first learned about this, and there was this Sedevacantism website who was freaking out about it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to talk about it.
Don't you think he was caught off? I think if I was caught off guard by a strange gift, I would not kiss the gift.
Hey, he's Polish. That's what Polish people do.
Maybe.
You give it a gift, you kiss it.
Yeah, mate. Who knows? Was it wrong for JP2 to give communion to topless women? Excuse me?
Yeah, that you don't know about this?
No, but if so, yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah, there was like it was like he was giving communion in some like tribal setting, and all the women were dressed as they're tribally dressed. I mean, it was a bunch of savages, and the women weren't adequately dressed. And he communed them.
I've never heard of this. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
I have nothing for that. That's just terrible.
Yeah, I remember I learned about this a few weeks ago, and I was, yeah. Lefebvre did the same thing. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Did Lefebvre do the same thing? Do you have a source for that? No, I mean savages in like the traditional sense, like they're primitive people. They were primitive people who don't wear clothing, and for some reason, after like the colonial days, we didn't make all these people dress properly. Um, like for some reason, we didn't make them all dress like Europeans because
In anthropology, you get browbeaten for using the terms primitive or savage, and then they never justify why you shouldn't call them savage.
yeah,
The only reason you're not supposed to call them savage is because actually they don't believe in a real metric for one society being better than another or one culture being better than another. The fact of the matter is that there are metrics and they are savages.
yeah. I don't know about the Marcel Lefebvre thing. I would have to look into that. I don't want to obviously say anything about him that's incorrect because then I'll especially get SSPXers mad at me. That and I have the duty to you know investigate it properly. But yeah, I remember hearing about that, and I was just not happy. New Zealand Parliament check. Yeah, I don't even. I saw the video. I never even listened to the video. Lofton confirmed it. No, you're joking. Did he? Oh, okay. So, okay, whatever. Anyways, I'll continue. I'll continue this video. I don't feel like continuing to talk about that issue of badly dressed women. Okay, so there's a newspaper article about it. Okay.
It's the same God. Now, some people say,
Okay, wait, I got to go back now. Oh, the Muslims thing.
in a different manner, was creator of all of the ages and governor of the world, we praise and honor every day. So here is the Pope in the Middle Ages recognizing in a letter to the King of Morocco, or Mauritania, that we honor and praise the same God. Now, some people say, well, he just says they're monotheists. No, in the Latin, it's very clear. Unum Deum dicet diverso modo credimus et confitemus, qui cum creaturum secolorum gubernatorum cuius mundi quotidie laudamus et veneramus. You can see the first person plural we.
Bro, he knows what he's reading.
So it's clear that this is nothing
So
novel.
true.
You see, it's a question of authentic Catholic humanism, which this Pope embodies and was embodied by Paul at the Areopagus, where he appeared before the Athenians and he said, I see that you are religious men. For in him we live and move and have our being, even as some of your poets have said. So as for ecumenism, it is not something that just emerges. What was condemned were the false forms of ecumenism, such as the branch theory promoted by the Anglicans, such as indifferentism, which comes out of the Enlightenment. So what was needed was a Catholic theology of ecumenism that had never been fully developed before, and that was one of the tests of Vatican II. But it already was starting to move prior to that. For example, the Holy Office under Pope Pius XII, I hope you accept him as a true Pope, issued an instruction in 1949, which was very cautious, but it encouraged Catholics, especially priests, to pray for the success of the ecumenical movement in the sense that it might help people move towards Catholic unity. And then following this, Catholic observers were allowed to attend the Faith and Order conferences at Lund in 1952, at Oberlin, Ohio in 1957, at St. Andrews, Scotland in 1960. It's not something new. All I would say towards the end is to use the word heresy.
Seriously, did the guy just drop his camera?
Wait,
The highest authority in the
bro, what? Wait.
at St. Andrews, Scotland in 1960. It's not something new.
Oh wait, can we get a view of
All
what
I
it
would
is?
say towards the end is to use the word heresy means you have the authority to proclaim heresy. The highest authority in the church is an ecumenical council. St. Robert Bellarmine says that an ecumenical council could err. Then we
Wait,
have no
a bishop
first-
can say that something is a heresy, and though,
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course, a bishop can say something is a heresy. Yeah, and also he doesn't think that Vatican II was an ecumenical council because he doesn't think John the 23rd was a pope.
Yeah, this just kind of it's I think
Fastigi kind of just doesn't really know like the particular theory of the person he's speaking to.
Yeah, okay, so I found the thing about Lefebvre. It was that he was blessing women in Africa who were in a state of undress. Because they were primitive women who he was evangelizing. Oh, it's even worse with the
I don't
John
understand. Get them to put clothes on and then start giving them communion. What's
Yeah.
so difficult about this?
So in the St. John Paul II Papua New Guinea Mass in 1984, a topless woman read the epistle at the Mass, and naked female natives brought up the offertory gifts, and then he gave obviously the women communion after that. That's
Why? Just why? What's going on? Why? 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 What is going on?
I have no idea.
That's extremely distressing. Horrible.
Anyways, let's continue after blackpilling.
Firm judgment in the Catholic Church. He also says that a pope, that the unity with the Bishop of Rome is a mark of being a Catholic. And his Jesuit colleague at that time, Francisco Suarez, stated that no greater rule of authority can be conceived to exist among men than the general council with the Pope. For in it is the head of the church and other ecclesiastical leaders who are rightly said to represent the universal church. Therefore, this authority is the highest sense the infallible rule. The infallible rule is what he calls heretical. This is an abomination prayed for the soul.
Bishop Sanborn will have the opportunity to cross-examine. Okay, he will go straight into a 10-minute rebuttal, and just so that everyone is aware, I'm ringing the bell at a 1 minute, as a 1 minute warning.
First of all, I think again, Dr. Fastigi is begging the question. We have no problem with submitting to the Roman Pontiff, obviously, from what I have said. The question is whether John Paul II is the Roman Pontiff, and that depends on whether there is doctrinal, disciplinary, and liturgical continuity between pre-Vatican II and post-Vatican II. So to accuse me of schism or not being submitted to the Roman Pontiff is really a waste of time, because all of these people and myself would be the first ones to submit if he would be a Catholic, if John Paul II would convert to the Catholic faith. Secondly, all of the things that you said about the Catholic Church and citing Vatican II refer to the Catholic Church, what Ratzinger refers to as the Catholic Church, but it does not refer to the Universal Church or the Church of Christ, which is distinct in the Vatican II ecclesiology from the Catholic Church. Whereas in the traditional ecclesiology, they are one and exactly the same thing. They are not two different things. And that's why, if you look at Ratzinger's documents, this communion, this partial communion exists, especially with the Eastern Orthodox churches, which, though separated from the See of Peter, remain united to the Catholic Church, which is, the one that subsists, by means of very close bonds, such as apostolic succession.
So I'm confused. So he's not disagreeing with Fastigi. He's just saying that Fastigi is somehow reading Vatican II wrong. Am I right about that?
I'm not actually sure.
Yeah, because it seems like he's just saying that, oh, you're interpreting this wrong because this is what Ratzinger said. And this is what this other individual said, so on and so forth. I don't know. I'm gonna put it back another minute or so. But yeah, he's saying he's begging the question, obviously, because he doesn't consider them to be the Pope, which we already pointed out that was a weakness of Fastigi's argument. But I think he's arguing that he's just misinterpreting Vatican II.
Is the Roman Pontiff.
Which I don't know how he is, because it's pretty clear from the text that he was referring to from the council.
And that depends on whether there is doctrinal, disciplinary, and liturgical continuity between pre-Vatican II and post-Vatican II. So to accuse me of schism or not being submitted to the Roman Pontiff is really a waste of time, because all of these people and myself would be the first ones to submit if he would be a Catholic, if John Paul II would convert to the Catholic faith. Secondly, all of the things that you said about the Catholic Church and citing Vatican II refer to the Catholic Church, what Ratzinger refers to as the Catholic Church, but it does not refer to the universal church or the Church of Christ, which is distinct in the Vatican II ecclesiology from the Catholic Church. Whereas in the traditional ecclesiology, they are one and exactly the same thing. They are not two different things. And that's why, if you look at Ratzinger's documents, this communion, this partial communion exists especially with the Eastern Orthodox churches, which, though separated from the See of Peter, remain united to the Catholic Church, which is, this is just the one that subsists, by means of very close bonds, such as apostolic succession and the valid Eucharist, and therefore merit the title of particular churches. He says in Dominus Jesus, therefore the Church of Christ is present and operative also in these churches, even though they lack full communion with the Catholic Church. So please do not obscure what Ratzinger is saying. Then he says the universal church is therefore the body of the churches, in a paragraph where he was talking about the particular churches. So these schismatic churches belong to the universal church as a body of the churches, and that is contrary to the teaching of the Catholic Church concerning the church.
I don't know.
What the?
What did you say, Hassan?
I said, what the? That was a really weird response from Sanborn.
Sorry, I've been distressing over the John Paul II thing.
Just rewatch it, bro. You can't. You're watching it for this, not for the random shit in the.
Okay, I don't know if this is impious, but do you think St. John Paul II was canonized too quickly and without enough investigation? I don't know. I wasn't part of the.
It was like there was basically no investigation, Christian. They did it like almost immediately afterwards.
Trust the plan.
I think I don't have an issue with that part. I have an issue with the fact that there was no like disavowal of particular mistakes or misinterpretations or bad impressions that would have been had, like doctrinal errors on account of people's surface level understanding of things he did and said. That I think that was not good at all.
Zachary said Michael Lofton's real name is Christian. His name is Christian Michael Wagner, but was bullied in Israel for his name, so he started going by Michael.
It's actually Christopher.
It's Christopher Michael Lofton, not Christopher Michael Wagner. Oh man,
Christian Michael Wagner, crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer I can watch this thing. The John Paul II thing is distracting me too much.
Yeah, that was very bad.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to I'll just restart at 42:55 for when I do my member stream tomorrow and finish off the rest of that video. I think we got enough ground. We got enough ground in this video. We can answer some questions. I just can't focus on the video right now. It's Super chat is not working for me. LL. Game over.
Christian Weston. It's over.
When are you watching the big debate with Russell? Which big debate with Russell? Oh yeah, did you see the debate that recently went on with Dr. Andani and on Capturing Christianity about the Islamic dilemma and Sam Shamoun?
No.
Pivot to the filioque. That's a classic Wagner move.
Does the word shit count as profanity? No. By the way, profanity is kind of like a sort of like a made up word. There's profanitas just means the worldliness of something, right? So profaning sacred things is wrong. And then there's like a hierarchy of different like cuss words that are bad for different reasons. if somebody is saying something that has to do with excretory functions like piss or shit, that's still not good. It's contrary to mental tranquility, but it's not some kind of like it's not like offensive by itself, except by way through its reference to like less honorable things, less honorable processes, and things which are like offensive in a sensory way or for hygiene. So if it's a cuss word that has to do with the venereal, it should not be used at all. So these are all quite different. You need to basically think about what these terms mean and what the dangers in them are. You can't kind of just do this is bad word oversimplification.
Dude, please research the proper spelling, because the first one's kind of funny. Viva Cristo. And then Santissima rather than Sanctissima.
Wouldn't that be the thing rather than
Yeah,
the
it
king?
would be thing. Hail Christ,
no.
Hail Christ the reality, I guess. I think
Yeah.
that's probably how I would translate it.
I-
And then Santissima isn't really a word.
That does kind of go hard.
Oh man, here to pay tribute to Christian for taking Aiken's job. I'm Pope Splainer. I'm Pope Splainer now. Oh, it's Portuguese. Whoa, that's crazy. So,
Bro, what the Portuguese think that king is reality. Interesting.
so true. That's so epic of the Portuguese.
No, I'm sorry, guys. I think I hate the Portuguese language.
Wow, you're telling me this now for the first time.
It's just
we're blackpilling.
It's just like
Mr. Traditional Thomist over here. He's probably glad to see us blackpilling about St. John Paul II right now.
Wild.
A whole porch made of geese.
So true. What is that hoodie, Christian?
What is that hoodie? Dude,
Yeah.
You don't like the hoodie? I'm allowed to wear camouflage if I want to.
It looks
I'm
like you
told.
soaked it in excrement, bro.
What do you mean? It's
Look at the
camouflage.
patches on it, bro.
Dude. You're just a European, so you wouldn't understand.
Okay. Europeans dress like that as well, bro.
Do you guys? Wait, John Paul the First? Or did you mean John Paul II, or did you actually mean John Paul the First?
Why not Paul the Sixth as Ecclesiam Suam? That would be a good
What
option.
about literally every single pope after Vatican II that says that there's
what about the clarificatory documents like Mysteria de Ecclesia and Dominus Jesus?
True.
Those are useful.
Michael Lofton made a members-only video about whether or not the Blessed Virgin Mary can sin. I wanted to watch his nuanced video, but I didn't want to give him the money. Really? Did he? I bet he agrees with me. I bet that's why he made it members-only. I bet he agrees with me. I've not seen a single person go out there and defend what Aiken said. Not a single
Advice of
one.
The church on praying to deceased relatives.
Should I spend the $5 to become a Lofton member just to watch the video? No, as a matter of principle, I'm not going to do that.
By the way, with deceased relatives, you can just make a conditional act of intercession, just like, if you can hear me, then please pray for me, kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Dude, the Lofton view count is so weird. 860 views and then 121,000.
Wait. What is this? Praying for or to dead non-Catholics is a mortal sin. Nicholas I condemned it. What the? That's talking about people. Yeah, Saint Nicholas I is not talking about people who like somebody who's like the descendant of schismatics or somebody who's in good faith, though. That's kind of wild.
Other than tuning into Wagner stream every night, how do I go from normie Catholic to church father citing theology wizard who can explain the Trinity properly without saying a single heresy? You got to read books. I'm sorry,
We've
bro.
been saying this for 2 years. Please read
Not
books.
2 years. It's been 3, dude. It's been 3 years at this point. Can you believe that?
That's actually kind of disturbing because there are some people here who've just about started to start going through the books.
Yeah, just suck it up and read the entire STS cover to cover.
That's kind of real. Also, if somebody is voluntarily illiterate, Leo the 13th says, okay, let me just read this quote from Leo the 13th. I want to scare you guys. Sorry.
I don't know if you can. I feel like most of the STS, outside of the response to the objections, the theological argument, and the explanation of the thesis, are pretty straightforward. That's also like a third of the entire book. So, yeah. So actually, what you have to do is you have to become a member of Wagner Channel.
Leo the 13th in Sapientia Christianae 1890, he said, "It cannot be doubted that duties more numerous and of greater moment devolve on Catholics than upon such as are either insufficiently enlightened in relation to the Catholic faith, or are entirely unacquainted with its doctrines. Considering, so basically, you're more culpable for not knowing about Catholicism than an inquirer is, right? The inquirer is less culpable for not knowing than you are. Considering that forthwith, upon salvation being brought out for mankind, Jesus Christ laid upon his apostles the injunction to, quote, preach the gospel to every creature, he imposed, it is evident, upon all men the duty of learning thoroughly and believing what they were taught. This duty is intimately bound up with the gaining of eternal salvation. Quote, he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be condemned, unquote. This was his argument for the necessity of Christians having proper formation. So,
okay, so I can unlock this video for $2.99. Is it worth the $2.99?
No,
dude. I would love to do something like speaking of the STS. I would love to do, because this would be the easiest reading group ever. Is literally for something like the STS, because of what I mentioned about the only hard parts being the explanation of the thesis. Because once you grasp the explanation of the thesis, then you pretty much can just read like all of the statements on the ecclesiastical documents, patristic documents, scripture, and stuff like that. Like that would be the coolest reading group ever to do. But I know that you monkeys would not keep up on the reading group, so I'm not going to put the effort into doing something like that. Reading groups always fall apart. That's just an axiomatic statement. But definitely that would be the best thing. I don't know. I would consider if people were willing to, like put it up front, rather than, if people were willing to like put it up front and I got, I don't know, like 15 different people, I would consider doing something like that. But I definitely would not just trust the plan of everybody sticking with it. Are atoms real? Yeah, they're real. You should watch the Bertrand Russell, Father Copleston debate on the existence of God. I think I've watched that before, actually. You're doing a series over the STS in January? Dude, God
bro.
bless you. That'll take you forever.
Someone just paid you to become a Lofton member.
Did they?
Yeah.
Have you heard Sede John Daly's Rome Word? He sells old pre-Vatican II titles there, including one on the derelict of heresy. The publisher is called Traddy Books. Traddy Books? Traddy Books. What is Traddy Books? Rome Word, Traddy Books. This does look. Oh, this looks interesting. Oh, this is by Bishop Mackenzie. This does look interesting. Thank you for the how grace acts. Yeah, there actually looks like some gems in there. Venial sin, theology of prayer, the role of money. It looks like a few gems in there. The mercy of Allah. Is that wait. Did I read that right? Yes, the mercy of Allah. So based.
What?
Yeah, that's so based. That's so based. The mercy of Allah.
What are you looking at?
It's by Belloc, The Mercy of Allah. That's W.
I didn't even know that book existed.
Yeah, looks
How
cool.
to have
Okay.
an easier time reading Aristotle. We are reading Nicomachean Ethics.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna actually do a reading group. That would take like a serious amount of dedicated, interested people who are willing to bind themselves to actually going through all 8 volumes. I'm not gonna like start it and then just it's on Isidore. Become a Lofton member. You gave me the money to become a Lofton member. Do I have to now? I think I have to. I actually can't play the video on stream, and I'll have to use an alt account to become a member. But yeah, I will watch that and report back later.
I was gonna say I didn't know John Daly was a Sede. That sounds a bit messed up. He's not a Sede. It was John something else.
How to have an easier time reading Aristotle? No, it's not your translation. You're not stupid. It's just a really dumb educational methodology to expect students to be able to just go in and read Aristotle without either a magister who comments and explains the text or without previous knowledge of the topic in which Aristotle's covering. It's like, hey, Goy, read posterior analytics for me and let me know what you get out of it real quick. It's like it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Just read St. Thomas's commentary on the Ethics. Just cheat by reading the commentary. It's really good.
Dude, demand $500 up front from all STS reading group members. They get $20 back every time they show up and they have to read the necessary passages. That would be so funny. I do like a reverse tuition. Reverse tuition. You pay me up
That's
front.
actually such a good idea. That's actually such a good idea. People would actually put the work in. Dang, that's amazing.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah, and we would make so much money because there are so many people who would just be willing to lose all of that money rather than just do the basic work of reading. That's a really good idea, Colin.
So true.
That's a really good idea. I'll actually have to seriously consider that unironically. People would seethe so hard online if I came out with something like that, though. Related to SSPX.
The council is pastoral. That comes from Paul VI. What the heck?
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
not.
I thought you finished reading it.
No. Related to the SPX canonization question: what else of their doctrines are sinful to believe in? Like, would Vatican II being pastoral be sinful? Like, what do you mean, like SSPX doctrines? I don't. There's no like official SSPX magisterium or something like that who promulgates doctrines. Like, are you talking about common beliefs held among SSPX members?
You say that, but there's like certain enterprises of the SSPX that are like kind of like structural to how they work. Like, you know, like for example, the fact that they believe that they have the power to have their own marriage tribunals, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, like I would say that that's an underlying doctrinal problem. I don't know if there's any SSPX priest who like acknowledges that is doctrinally wrong.
Yeah. I actually want to grasp the explanation of theses in the STS. Could you at least recommend books to learn on it? I mean, you could get like to be honest, as long as you're discerning about sources, if there are terms within the explanation of theses that you don't get, then you should just look up what those terms mean. I mean, I have to do that occasionally. There's certain terms that I haven't heard before and then I look up. And usually, I mean, if you can look at, for example, like a dictionary of scholastic philosophy and look up those terms, or you can look at, sometimes a Catholic encyclopedia, it will be mentioned in it. I mean, you just have to have good research skills when there's terms in there that you don't understand and have like different books that you know are trustworthy. It's all about discernment. Bishop Fillet had mentioned tradition of arcane in regard to the liturgy of Ede Amari when that issue dealing with it was around. Am I just stupid, Hassan? I don't understand what this question is.
I don't understand what's going on either. Oh, had mentioned tradition of arcane. What does this mean?
Yeah, also the book binding glue in the books that I sell are strong, so everyone should buy more.
My understanding is they have tribunals, but they don't give annulments. They do, and there are actually situations that are really bad where there's somebody who is quote unquote remarried. They're married because their first marriage was considered annulled by the SSPX.
Oh, we're just dumb. We're just so dumb, Hassan. The tradition of the arcane is not having the consecration formula written down.
I didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah, I've read this before. I'm just stupid.
Yeah, I actually think. Oh, yeah. This is a myth. I remember this now. This is a myth. In purgatory is the body purified. There's no body. There's no body in purgatory.
Wait, Dr. Robert Fastigi debated James White? Oh, I need to watch that one. That sounds funny. In purgatory, is our body also purified or just our soul? If the body is also purified, why? I've been told that our new bodies in heaven are somehow different from the ones that we have now. Thanks from a soon-to-be convert. Okay. So we die. Okay. When we die, the body and the soul separate. And then we have what's called the particular judgment. And the particular judgment, our destinies are fixed, either heaven or hell. Some of those souls, remember the body's in the ground. It's just the soul. Some of those souls go to purgatory. And in purgatory, in the first moment in which you're in purgatory, you make an act of charity. And it's basically a superabundant act of charity, which includes obviously contrition for your sins, which wipes away what's called the guilt. The temporal guilt it wipes away the guilt and any sort of disorder of soul that you have. So like purgatory isn't a process of like moral reconstruction or anything like that. But you also, what does continue to happen is that you are punished for the punishments are carried out that you have merited throughout your life. And have not been adequately satisfied for through penance, through bearing fruits which are worthy of penance. So then what happens is you either get out of purgatory and go to heaven, or you might be there actually until, the general judgment, and theologians debate over what the heck happens there. But either way, your soul makes it to the final judgment. And, remember you had the particular judgment before where you're destined either to heaven or hell. At the final judgment, there's a resurrection that happens of all of the bodies, and the souls are joined with your body. Your soul is joined with your body again. And if you are, in heaven, and if you are on the right side of things. Sorry, I'm very tired right now. Maybe I'm not making sense right now. But you have an overflowing of the glory of the beatific vision that flows down into your body. And you have certain gifts, clarity, agility, and so forth. So you don't have a body in purgatory. Does that make sense? Clip this segment. I literally could make a segment that is 800 times better than what I just said. I can, if you guys want, I could do a short video or something on this. It would literally take me like an hour to make the video. It's something that, I've read about pretty frequently. How can you make an intellectual act after you die? Because you have your intellect is a faculty of your soul. Okay, maybe that was a little bit mean for me to react like that, but you intellect is a faculty of the soul. So how would you not? Are you asking because the intellect during our time on Earth is attached to the senses? That's what you're asking? I don't know where purgatory is, and neither do you. Neither does anyone.
I thought everybody agreed it was in hell.
No, people dispute about it.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like it goes without saying.
Clip your hair. Okay, that's real. Yo, I've the Catholic Christian in my. I mean that. How was that name not taken when you chose that name? The Catholic Christian.
Yeah.
You're the Catholic Christian. It's kind of a. It's kind of a.
He's the guy who snagged it.
name.
Now it's gone.
Yeah, you are the guy who took the Catholic Christian. Purgatory is in hell? Question mark. I mean, most people say purgatory is in hell.
What's wrong
Some
with
people
that?
have like
It's
weird.
not in
Some
the
people
hell
have
of the
weird.
damned. What?
Yeah.
You need to distinguish between hell of the damned and like Sheol in general, which is just the place of the underworld.
Okay. What does one do if they remember a sin whilst the priest is saying the absolution? It seems wrong to either conceal it or interrupt the prayer.
Say it next time.
Say it next time.
Obvious. Why are you greasy in your old videos? That's a good
I don't know, bro. I don't know. Bro, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
You can see like the essential oils like oozing from your face, bro.
Dude, it's so over.
Maybe it's just because you were a bit younger. I don't know.
I think it probably actually has to do with like my extremely bad lighting. 'Cause I have seen older videos where I look pretty weird in them, but I think it had to do with lighting and angle. Would you expose the newsletter where Sanborn claims every miracle of the Novus Ordo is the work of the devil on stream one day? I can send it to you. I mean, how am I supposed to expose that? I guess the way that I could expose it is the I'm sorry, I don't know how to expose that. Yeah, I asked to the devil if he did it. He said no. Like, what am I supposed to do?
We can ask an exorcist to just be like, hey, buddy, did you do that one time? Was that you? Like, what?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sleepy. Yeah, so we could go to the manuals of fundamental theology that extensively talk about why God couldn't permit a miracle that men would be infallibly or invincibly led into error about the true religion. Okay, I'm just banning all of you now. You guys are making fun of me.
Oh no.
Yeah, some of the miracles are not preternatural but supernatural. Yeah, that was the second thing I was going to say, but I'm sleepy, so I forgot about it. Okay, anybody making fun of me gets banned. Okay, Christian B. Griesner. Okay, I can't ban you because I like you. Okay, who else do I ban? Piracy's
Bruh.
top guy. Yeah, I am Piracy's top guy. Problem. Where and how can I ask a Sonic question? It's too long for YouTube.
You will actually not be doing that. That's the answer. Sorry, dude.
Dude, you should set up some sort of personal fundraising endeavor where you have like a nominal fee for people that send you a question. You should have like it's like $1 per message or something like that, or like 50 cents per minute in VC.
Yeah,
That'd
every
be a good
time somebody asks
fundraising
me a
endeavor.
question, it gives $1 to the Tavish Network.
So
Yeah.
true. Hassan's
So
gonna do a massive fundraising endeavor for the Tavlish Network by like $1 per question, $1 per message, 50 cents per minute on VC. That's like $30 an hour, which isn't that much, but you could talk to multiple people in VC at once. Dating
Can
a
we please
Groiper
ask
does
the
sound
viewers to give
miserable,
this
bro.
Can we please ask people to put a small amount of money into their GoFundMe?
Oh yeah. Okay, thanks for not banning me. You're welcome. Yeah, GoFundMe. Okay. I'm trying to Google. Nah. Okay, I'll just look on Twitter. I shared it
The
like 50
Catholic
times.
view
on
on
Twitter.
Jews. I really don't want to answer a long question about our view on the Jews. Actually, sorry, dude. I'm so tired these days.
Yeah,
They're in so
donate
much-
$100 to the GoFundMe, and Hassan will answer it.
Oh, you can DM me on WhatsApp if you want resources, but I really don't want to answer long stuff.
Okay, yeah.
The website's not
So
up, but the GoFundMe is.
basically, there's these new Catholics in North Africa who have been who have converted. We have all catechized them. Well, I haven't really been involved in catechesis. I've been involved in other stuff, but they're supposed to be receiving the sacraments, and we need money for essential travel and a bunch of other different things. So we're raising money for that. So if you're interested in helping North Africans receive sacraments, we got to get priests out there. We got to get other essential personnel. We got to get a spot there and everything like that. So if you're interested, here is the link. Any dollar counts. I was gonna wait a few days after everybody else posted it to post it. But yeah, I will. Yeah, I think I've shared it a few times on Twitter. If you can't click the link here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, you already shared it on Twitter?
No, I've just been retweeting other people on Twitter. I'm waiting till it kind of like stagnates, and then I'm gonna post about it because everybody else has been posting about it.
It's got to the point where one donation's coming through like every 12 hours. So
Okay, yeah, I guess I could do it tomorrow. I'll make a
Cool,
post
thank
about
you.
it.
we kind of need to get to the goal, otherwise we might be screwed.
You won't be screwed, bro. Trust the plan. Can you read the
Yeah.
dating a trad Catholic Roiper Reddit post again? Oh my gosh. Groiper looking for a trad wife? No, dating a trad Catholic Roiper Reddit. How am I supposed to find this? Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, you're lucky. You're lucky you sent me $10 for this rather than your usual.
We're not getting basilicas in North Africa for a long time, buddy. Sorry. The situation is very bad.
If Hassan did live streams for Papacy Hub questions, he'd fund all GoFundMe.
With a
goals.
trad Catholic Roiper and experienced shook.
Hassan, what are your thoughts on Khamenei?
What
Is that how you
the-
pronounce it? Khamenei? Ayatollah, the Ayatollah. I'll just say the
Khomeini?
Khomeini.
No, that's too long. That's too long.
Khomeini? Oh, that's too long. Bro's like, I need to. I have a 60 stanza love poem to him that I need. I need to translate back into English. Okay, guys. Make the screen share the same size as your face cam. I can't. I literally can't do that. It's not how it works. I either do it this or I do it full. Wags, what's your cell phone number? I'm not giving my cell phone number out. There's a few people who have it. If you meet me in person, I usually give my cell phone number. But besides that, so now like a bunch of random people from Notre Dame have my cell phone number. So yeah, they're all chill. Okay. Does Egypt? No. Okay. So to clarify, they're actually planning a trip to a undisclosed country in North Africa in order to give the sacraments to a bunch of different Morisco Catholics who are catechumens right now. Like there's the individuals, like we know the individuals, they've been catechized, and there's a trip next month to where they're traveling there next month to give the sacraments. So yeah.
You guys have to keep in mind that like asking about specific countries is an extremely stupid idea. Just try and keep in mind like how the security operations with things like this are gonna work. You can't just tell people
we obviously can't tell people exactly where we're going and what dates we're going to which countries and whatever, you know.
Yo,
It's so
a round
easy.
trip, a round trip
It's so
flight for me
easy for
is like
problems to happen.
$750. I should just fly out
Yeah,
there to say hi one day.
so true.
Some Chad gave $2,000 anonymously. Yeah, that's W. Please read the post out loud. Wagner, when are you coming to Godless, California? I will evangelize. I don't know. I think I might have a California trip. I don't know. I'm supposed to be going to North Dakota in January. They're having a pro-life dinner that I was invited to. Okay.
If people want to like do
Indiana, and I'm going to Maryland, and I will be in DC maybe next later this
there's
month.
really bad lag, I'm sorry.
Oh, there is? Okay, continue.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so Augustine is Calmet. If you want to help us out, just send me a Discord message and we'll basically vet you as a potential volunteer. And then, you know, you may be able to help us out, but we're not going to be adding people to these trips because you have to take into account space, and we have to be able to accommodate like less affluent converts who need somewhere to stay and stuff like that as well. So
It's okay. I can sleep on the floor, bro.
yeah, and then there's some people who are the very opposite of not very affluent, and they're like, what the? Some of these priests stay on the floor. What's wrong with them? You know.
Yeah, I gotta find the
What
cheapest.
is
The
this guy
cheapest.
talking about?
I guess $750 isn't that much money. Okay, it kind of is a lot of money. But what's your Tinder handle, bro? Shut up. Get out of here. When are you coming to Minnesota? I'll be in North Dakota. That's not that far from
That's a weird
Minnesota.
thing to say.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll be in. I expect me to be getting more and more trips as the years roll on. So I will be more and more in your area probably. So yeah, I've never have really been a traveling guy, but now I have to become a traveling guy. I can't remember the city name. I'd have to look at the invite. Okay, so what is this stupid trad Catholic Roiper thing? Let me see. So I had this his profile. He dug up his profile. Is weird. Trad Catholic Groiper nationalist Deus Volt. I cringed but dug a little bit deeper, and he followed many alt-right pundits and stuff, which made me uncomfortable. Okay. Well, he didn't himself write anything racist, so let's give him a chance. Okay. Tuesday, the date begins. It's off to a decent start, but then the topics begin to shift. First, he really talked a very, very long on the Crusades and how right they were and how he knew Crusade would be a good idea. Dude, this is so fake. Nobody. Okay, maybe somebody would do this. Later, it shifted to politics. It's one thing laughing at some woke fad, but he like railed against non-conservative for what feels like hours. He didn't even address local politics, just stuff from the U.S. Wait, what? Person not American? That's kind of funny. Then came what really made me upset. Since it's Pride Month, he mentioned LGBT people, and of course the F word fell, which really made me angry as someone who knows people who have SSA and stay abstinent. I got visibly angry and told him how his tirade is against the Catechism's teaching and that we should respect people despite their sins. But still, he wouldn't stop and started going into conspiracy theories on how it is a socialist ploy to destroy the West by reducing birth rates and importing immigrants. At this point, I had and stood up and clearly said, I don't want to date people who clearly deny Catholic teachings. He didn't show up to Mass the next time. Okay, this is so fake. A borderline Nazi. Okay, real. He sounds based. Oh man.
I've kind of met people kind of like this though, so it's not completely unbelievable.
Yeah, the quotes are all messed up too. Road trip. Oh yeah, I was. So that was supposed to be happening earlier, but it never happened. I don't know. I'll probably be if anybody's in. Nah, probably not. Never mind. I don't know. I don't know how to pre-announce my arrival at certain areas. If people are going to be there or not. Because it's one thing to go to Notre Dame just because there's so many young Catholics like near Notre Dame, but it's another thing to say like, oh, I'm going to be in South Central Pennsylvania or something like that. So yeah, unless I'm at a Catholic center, yeah, I'm not doing it. Not going to do it. But 750 is not a lot. Okay, I meant like in the grand scheme of things, $750 is not a lot of money. Obviously, I don't just like blow $750 on like every single week on random stuff. Yeah, I know. Wagner bailed on our trip to Fillmore. I was too scared to go by myself. That is what it is. You pick up RZ on the way? Yeah, I will. Anyways, I should probably go. Have you been on YouTube for how many? Okay, stop being mean. Stop being mean, bro. You didn't have to do that to me. You don't have to be. I've only been. I think I've been on. Okay, I can check what the founding date of my YouTube channel was. Okay, it's hard being so real. It's hard to be one of the real ones, you know? How do I check when my YouTube channel was created? April 29th, 2021. But I don't think I wasn't doing videos back then, though. When is my first video? My oldest video is 2 years ago. Let me see the date. April 1st, 2022. So yeah, like 2.5 years. Yeah. Yeah, around 2 years ago-ish. Okay. Stop wasting $750 a week on booze and cigs. I did not. Joe. Wagner, what's your favorite book written by St. Augustine and your favorite book from the later Augustinian tradition? Hassan, what do you think my favorite book written by St. Augustine is going to be?
Against Julian?
No, I really like Against Julian. I'm reading it right now, actually. But no, obviously the Confessions, bro. I know that's like basic.
Really?
You know, I love the Confessions. Yeah, dude. The Confessions were one of the first books of Christian theology that I ever read back when I was in high school. And I've tried to keep the practice of reading it once a year since then. Yeah, I freaking love it. I actually don't think I've done my read through this year yet, so I might have to do that before the end of the year. From the later Augustinian tradition, I mean, I haven't really read directly a lot of the later Augustinian tradition. Most of it's been indirectly or through like various, like reading different sections of different works or things like that. So I can't really comment on that. Okay. Anyway, Westminster Confession is my favorite. Okay. If I had to pick, okay, so not the Confessions. If I had to pick a single work, that's a good question. It's like asking what is your, like what's your favorite child? It's like asking what your favorite work from St. Augustine is. Obviously De Trinitate is up there. His Enchiridion, I really like. Okay, I guess those would be my top three then. Why is this guy still streaming? I know, I need to go. I need to leave. I need to get out of here. I'm going to grab a beer at the gas station tonight. But anyways, thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate it. Thank you, Hassan. Everybody, remember about the GoFundMe. Do not let Hassan down and make him cry on the GoFundMe, okay? Hassan will cry before you. He'll do one of the, like we see all the videos of the mothers, like we are dying in Gaza thing. Like Hassan's going to do that thing. He's going to do a sad crying video where he's going to tell you guys you don't actually care. And then he's going to talk about how the prophet's going to bless you if you help with the GoFundMe and everything like that. But you guys better, remember about the GoFundMe. It's pretty epic and it's for a very, very, very good cause.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? We are dying in Gaza, please. Yes, those. Those are terrible.
That was so weird.
We're dying. Hassan's gonna do a video where he's like he's holding a random baby for some reason, and he starts talking about all the Christians in North Africa who need your help. Yeah.
Yeah, real.
That's what's gonna happen. Okay, but I got to get my gas station beer. Do you hate Sicilians? Yes, very much, very much. The Sicilians are the worst. I have to spend my $750 in booze and cigarettes at the gas station right now. Anyways, it was great hanging out, and as always, God bless.
If you really enjoy this channel, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/militant Thomist. At the first level, you get access to the private Discord. At the second level, you get access to weekly bonus videos. At the third level, you get access to free translations, articles, and notes on the Summa of St. Thomas. On the fourth level, you get access to course videos and DM questions. And beyond this, there are many other benefits, so please make sure to check out patreon.com/militant Thomist.